I'm a huge believer that people are good at their core. And I would love to better understand how you view the world and how we got to this point where the money is so corrupted and it has these second, third, fourth order effects that many of us don't appreciate or even related to the money, right? We don't connect the dots until we learn about something like Bitcoin. But all these symptoms that come from that core of the money has been destroyed and corrupted, and that almost encourages the breakdown of the moral fabric of society.
It's not a new thing. It's been happening throughout human history where people have been trying to get the upper hand on one another and debasing. There's a reason why "you shall not steal" is in the Ten Commandments, right? That was written a long time ago, because the theft and financial shenanigans have always been a problem. And so I think, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a sin issue, and we need to deal with the sin issue. And I think Bitcoin removing sinful humans from the policy is really like a buffer, is really like insurance against financial shenanigans. Um, how did we get here? Well, I don't know that we've got here. I think we've been here. We've been here, and it's been a problem for all of human history. And now we finally have a tool that that has a buffer between the sinful the sinful heart of men and money. And I know that it's kind of a short answer, but that's how I see it. I don't think we got here. We've been here, and we finally have a way out.
I don't know if you saw my post, but a couple weeks ago, I shared that I asked AI if there was a form of money that God designed, what
Yeah.
would it look like? And it basically described Bitcoin. It even at the very, very bottom, it said the money that we have that's closest to this form would be Bitcoin. And it was really fascinating. And I tried it on actually multiple AIs, and it all came to the same answer. So maybe you can touch on why Bitcoin is such a moral and ethical form of money, regardless of what someone may believe in.
It's because it is disconnected from humans. It's kind of, I mean, and gold is too, but Bitcoin has upgraded gold in its properties in that it's made it quicker, uh, final in terms of supply. I mean, there's still lots of gold under the earth, and some are speculating there's like even tons of gold in space and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's still a lot of gold, but Bitcoin as actually has a finality of supply. At the end of the day, if you love your fellow man, then this is an issue you must pay attention to. And that's something that I'm trying to get through the brains of some Christians is this is a love your neighbor issue. I forget who coined the term, but I've heard it said that Bitcoin is love your neighbor money, because your neighbor is getting stolen from. Your neighbor is being, their time and energy is being debased by a central bank that has all the control. So for me, it was looking at, Jesus told me to love my neighbor, looking at my children and saying, I want a better future for them, and realizing the current system is not set up to do that. It's a strange dichotomy because the current system is not set up to build. It's not set up to be a system where it incentivizes innovation and building. Although the irony here is that we are seeing innovation, we are seeing building, and so some people might say, "What are you talking about? Look at all the technology." I mean, Bitcoin arose in this environment, right? So what do you mean it's not? Could you imagine what kind of innovation we would have if we had hard money this whole time? I mean, we got here without hard money. Imagine where we'd
Right.
be with it. And so
That's
it's
such a good
it's
point.
it's trying to look trying to look past what we have and what we see to what can be and what could have been is hard because you only know what you know. You only see
Mm.
what you see. People need to uh, want better. It's okay to say things are okay right now, or I'm doing okay, or it's not as bad as it could be. Sure, it's not as bad as it could be, but it's also not as good as it could be. So let's not settle for what we have, which in principle is immoral, and strive for something better. There's no reason we shouldn't strive for something better. I don't understand the mindset of it's okay, let's just stay where we are. No, let's get better. Why would we not want to do that?
Well said. Bitcoin has been referred to as an immaculate conception. And some people have even referred to Satoshi as almost like a God-like figure, or that he came to us from God. But if you look at Satoshi's writings, there is nothing, no religious undertones, no references to God or Jesus or anything like that. What do you think about that?
Well, there doesn't need to be. If I were to read a math textbook, I wouldn't expect to hear anything about God or Jesus in a math textbook, but it would still nevertheless be true. 2 plus 2 equals 4. And the reason it equals 4 is because God made a world wherein mathematics rules the way I see this. And it's really not really a biblical thing, but the way I see creation is through math. I believe math is the code. God wrote the code for creation, and he's running the program as we speak. And so it's kind of a simulation, if you will, but there's still freedom and free will. Don't ask me how that works, I don't know. But he wrote the code in math, and he's running the program right now. There's a reason why it says in the Bible that God said. He speaks. It's word, it's language, right? John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And all of creation is held together by his word. The Bible tells us creation is held together through language. And what is code? Code is language. So God coded the universe. He spoke the universe. He's running the program. He's running the software. So when I read a textbook about 2 plus 2 equals 4, it doesn't say because God, but it is because God. Where did that code come from? I watched a video the other night about math in Christianity, and the guy said something profound. He said, it's remarkable to me that math even works. Why should we find something like mathematics? Why should it work so good? We take it for granted. What's really remarkable is that it even exists and that it even works. And when we view it through that lens of this is a miracle, then it makes all the more sense. So I wouldn't expect Satoshi or any computer code to have to explicitly mention God or Christ. The reality is God underpins, undermines, and is presupposed in all of it.
I find it fascinating that so many of the scientists that have revolutionized our understanding of the world have actually been believers, and they recognize the perfect order that exists in the universe. But I'm sure you're aware there are people today who are saying that 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4. And they're actually doubting the validity of math. They're saying things like math is racist. I would love to get your thoughts on what we're seeing as society pulls apart and questions what truth is.
I recommend to all your viewers and listeners to go read Romans chapter 1. Stop the video and go read Romans chapter 1 right now, and you'll see the answer to that question. In Romans chapter 1, we're told that when people reject God, they're actually rejecting something they intuitively know is true. Romans 1 tells us that they suppress the truth in unrighteousness. The truth they know, they suppress it. And as the more you suppress that truth, the greater the spiral of immoral behavior and absurdity goes down. It tells you in Romans 1 that God gives them over to a debased mind. What's a debased mind? A debased mind is a mind that says 2 plus 2 is 5. Math is racist. Men are women. Women are men. This is a debased mind. This is a mind that is detached from reality. This is a mind that once knew the truth but suppressed it so much that it's become absurd. There's a saying in some Christian circles, I don't know if you've heard this saying before, but we have two choices. We have Christ or we have chaos. That's really all we have to choose from right now. We have Christ or we have chaos. When you detach yourself from God, you inevitably descend into chaos and absurdity. It's absurd. Look, we can use other words, but let's be nice. It's absurd to say math is racist. It's absurd to say 2 plus 2 might not equal 4. It's absurd. And why is it absurd? Because it's rejecting the reality you live in, the objective truth. And this is really where it ends always. This isn't the first time this has happened. If you look through history, we've seen people descend into absurdity all throughout history.